And then obviously the big project that we all know about was the 91 freeway throughout the year. Several big changes were made on the project. Most significantly was this new segment of 2nd Street. But more importantly was the ramps on Grand. The ramps were closed, and that's a Caltrans standard. One of the things that Caltrans requires is that all ramps have to be about a mile apart. And that's to make them as efficient as possible for the movement of the freeway. And so when they started doing work on the freeway, they were required to meet the current standards. As much as every time we do our work on the road, we have to meet current ADA standards. Caltrans requires you to meet their standards as well. By removing these 2 ramps, the freeway itself will move much more efficiently. One reason this corridor was so bad is because we had the ramps at Main Street, Grand, and Lincoln. That's way too close together. When this work is done, this whole area is going to flow much more efficiently. The nice thing about that, when the freeway flows more efficiently, our city streets function better. So this is going to help us on the local streets as well. So 2016. 2016 is going to be a year of transition. We're going to see things happen in 2016 that we're going to get the benefit of all the construction and suffering we went through during that construction. So in 2016, we're going to still have several months of, unfortunately the word might be pain, construction for the next 4 or 5 months. There's still going to be some heavy things going on the 91 freeway, and it's going to affect our local streets. But what I want to say is there's some light at the end of the tunnel. We're looking at Memorial Day weekend. If we can get to Memorial Day weekend, you're going to feel things much different. And it's one reason I'm using the word transition. Not only is the work going to get done, but it's going to change the way traffic circulates, the way it moves around the city on the freeway. And you're going to start feeling that around about Memorial Day weekend. Our projects we plan on doing in 2016, we're going to continue to work on the Green River project. We'll get that done around March. We're also going to be constructing 4 new signals. The first one is the Surface Club at Rancho Corona Drive. This particular signal is one of 3. When those 3 signals are all complete, they'll be turned on at the same time, and that way we can help transition down there. The one signal is being constructed by the county, though. Auto Center Drive, we'll install a new signal there at the driveway entrance into the Metrolink station to help the buses move in and out of there safely. Rimpaw Avenue and Old Temescal Canyon Road, it's warranted now. There's time to build it. We're planning on doing that this year. And then Green River Road at Montana Ranch Road. We want to get that signal out there before we get the new Foothill project extension done. We want to get that done probably about just before we open that up. One project we want to do is the Ontario Avenue pavement rehab. We wanted to do it this year, but as I mentioned, it was kind of a painful year for construction. It was just almost too much to try to do in 1 year. And so we need to do this, though. We got a grant to pay for this work, and we want to get that done this year. The Foothill Parkway improvements on the east end. Right now, the developer's been working over there, making some improvements from the 15 freeway over to Teddy Bear Lane. They'll complete their phase of work. When they complete their phase of work, we're going to come in behind them and complete our phase of work from Teddy Bear Lane all the way to California to help that transition all the way through that corridor. And then by the end of the year, if weather permits, we're going to have Foothill Parkway Westerly Extension complete from Trudy Way to Green River. And I say if weather permits right now, we're on schedule to do that anywhere between November to January of 2017. It could happen faster, but as we know, the weather can definitely affect us. The 91 freeway. Some big things happened on the freeway during 2015, and some really big things are going to happen in 2016. As I mentioned, it's a part of a transition. The first thing we notice is that we have the new 2nd Street connection. That's going to change traffic circulation there. And as it changes, we're going to make adjustments. And so one of the first changes you're going to see is, currently it's been set up, we have a stop sign only for the 2nd Street. But we're finding out that's not working. We're going to actually make that a 4-way stop. So you're going to see that here very soon. We've already talked to the 91 team out there. They got to install a 4-way stop at that particular location. We anticipate that this is going to require a signal before they complete the work on the 91 freeway. And because of the change they made, they're going to be doing the traffic analysis on there. If it warrants a traffic signal, they'll construct a signal on there before they leave. The 91 project. As I mentioned, we got several things happening for the next 5 months. A lot of these are going to be night closures. The night closures happen as weather allows. And so I really can't tell you what's going to happen over the next 3 or 4 months, even the next 3 or 4 weeks, because it's really a week-by-week kind of situation. But I can tell you some things for certain. There will be night closures at different locations. First one is I-15. We know 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock they'll be closing the southbound lanes. It's just nature of the job. They have to do that. So pay attention to announcements when they come out there to keep informed what's going on. One thing we're going to feel is work on Lincoln on-ramp and off-ramp. That particular location, it's going to be a night closure as well from 9 to 5. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. The 91 freeway, I want to start down the Surface Club, has a lot of work to be done yet for utility work. And some of that work is significant enough they have to close the entire road down. So not only close it down for a weekend, for a night, but they have to close it down for an entire weekend, a 55-hour closure, just to get the work done. So that's going to be a detour from that area. Again, pay attention to notices that go out there. One of the biggest things we might feel on our local streets is the night closure of the 91 freeway eastbound and westbound direction entirely as they construct the new 6th Street ramp, westbound on-ramp. It's a flyover of the freeway. It's necessary to shut the entire freeway down at a certain time at night. They're going to be shutting that down at 10 o'clock at night to 5 o'clock in the morning. They'll deter all the traffic from the freeway onto local streets. That's coming up. So we'll fill that. And we'll be working with not only our PD, but we'll also have CHP out there to help us with enforcement. As I continue down, I mentioned the work on Lincoln and the ramps. It's going to be both the on-ramp and the off-ramp at Lincoln. They have to do some utility work right at that particular location. They're going to be shutting that ramp down at 9 o'clock at night, and it'll be shut down until 5 o'clock the next day. And that'll happen over a period of time. I have a projected date up there when we think we're going to do it, but again, it's what the weather permits. And then they're going to have to go over to Pomona and do the same thing on those ramps over there. So they'll be closing those ramps down as well. Again, paying attention to those notices. If you're driving around at night, you might come up on these ramps and find out they're closed and be deterred to another one. So we'll make sure they have detour plans, but paying attention to these is going to be really important. Buena Vista will continue to be closed down at night as they complete the utility work out there. The new Bolero will be opened up in January. And then the West Grand will be closed at night as well as they take the scaffolding work out of there. And they'll be doing that work all the way through January. Now I have some good news. Main Street. The Main Street on-ramp, the eastbound on-ramp, and the Main Street westbound off-ramp is anticipated to be open before Memorial Day. This is one of those big changes that's going to help us. You're going to start feeling this. So that's something to look forward to. These will be open well before that period. Work on the East Grand Boulevard will continue, and they'll have nightly closure on that as they work on the scaffolding work there. They're also going to have night closures of the 91 westbound lane and eastbound lane. And again, pay attention to those closures because they're going to be deterring them as they do that. And something we're going to feel locally is when they do some work on 6th Street. They have to work on the false work there. It won't be a closure. It'll actually be reductions out there. And so we'll have notices out there, but it definitely will kind of congest traffic through that corridor as they go through there. Okay, one thing the 91 team is doing, they're also preparing for El Nino. They're having extra freeway surface patrol vehicles out there doing rain events to help people that have vehicle problems. And so they have extra trucks out there, and they're deploying these throughout the storm season. One of the things they're also doing is Green River. They're installing an on-ramp directly from Green River past the existing ramps. And this is going to be set up for emergency purposes. There are times when there's an incident on the freeway right near the ramps, especially for the westbound ramp, and traffic backs up on our local streets. And our people can't get off our streets to get onto the freeway. So one thing we were talking about was trying to build this extra ramp. It'll take them down Green River all the way to the end of the road, past the golf course, and it'll only be open during emergency events. It's also going to be an emergency evacuation if we ever had to use it. And it'll be actually controlled by CHP and Caltrans. And so when it is necessary to use that, CHP will come in there, and it'll only be for those specific locations. And we've had concerns from residents about if we did that, they won't be able to get in out of their property onto the street. We're working on that as well. Again, this would only be for that kind of bad case scenario.